Okay, the previous lesson we drew one tree. Now we can draw a few more like you would in a forest. Keep in mind, not all the trees will be the same. The most important thing to remember is, as the trees are further away from you, make them smaller. Even if there's a big tree in the background, it's still going to be smaller than even a small tree that's close to you. So what I did here is I was just sketching. I have a tree here, the beginnings, another tree here, one there, and a few here. And you notice the ones in the back are fairly small. Here's another example. You see the tree here, here's a stump. This tree is a little small, this one's even smaller. As you go further back, they become smaller and smaller, but they follow in the same format as the singular tree I drew in a previous lesson. Here I was experimenting, and instead of drawing it with just pencil, I decided what would happen if I used some markers. So as you can see, I have yellow, I have orange, and I have green. I was also experimenting with layering one on top of the other, and you can get a darker shade. If you've never used colors, the way you get a brown or a darker tone is red, yellow, and blue combined will form a brown. If you use more of the red, it's kind of a rust color. If you use more of the yellow, it becomes a little lighter brown. If you use white in addition, if you're painting, you can make it use like a faded brown, a very light brown, but not quite a caramel. So what I did here is I made a pathway. You notice how wide it is here and it becomes narrower. That makes it look like it's going away from you. I zigzag this way and you notice it's even narrower here, and then here it becomes so narrow it almost fades. So it looks like you have a path that makes you look into the picture. And that's why the trees in the back are less distinguishable and they tend to be smaller. The trees in the foreground are bigger, even the stump. When I added some blue, I got some filtering in here. When it overlaid on the red, notice how it turned darker and it gets close to kind of a brownish green. And this one, I added even more color and I used crayon on top of the bark. So when you use crayon, it gives you a nice rough feel, which is what bark usually on a tree is. It's not super smooth. And so a combination of marker as well as crayons got this effect.